Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Chronicles of myself, Commander Eddie Rio, within this mesmerising game of Elite Dangerous. So I outfitted my Cobra for exploration and I decided to go on a journey. I love the fact that Elite Dangerous has modelled our own galaxy, or at least as close to our own galaxy as you can get. It makes it so much more interesting and exciting to go and travel around and think that this is how it could be out there in the universe. And it's that kind of mix with our own reality and the kind of lore and science fiction within the game meshing together to create this sort of unbelievable, incredibly rich depth to the game. And that kind of mesh of crossover between reality and sort of fantasy is something that works really well. And obviously growing up I used to read a lot of Terry Pratchett and the Discworld novels, and the kind of universe that Terry Pratchett created in his head with those Discworld novels drawed from his experiences and reality of the real world and the real universe as well. And it's that kind of mesh of those two things that can really create a really interesting environment. And there is also a station, Pratchett's Disc, I think it's called, out there in kind of memory of Terry Pratchett, which I need to go and make a pilgrimage to one day, I think. But anyway, back to the kind of journey element here. And I was just kind of bringing that up because in doing these little journeys and finding out about different stars or nebulas within our galaxy, I look them up, I find out more about them, it gets my thirst for knowledge going, and that's something that's really interesting within a game, and I think that is why I keep coming back to play this game. As you can see, I've made it all the way to EZ Orionis. Well, I used to say Orions, but I've realised that there is an I in it, so it's Orionis. See, always learning. And the description in game reads, a Class F yellow-white supergiant star. It is approaching the end of its life and hydrogen burning has stopped at its core, and the star has begun expanding towards being a red supergiant. So in the background of this shot behind my Cobra here, you can see Barnard's loop. And one of the first things that I wanted to do was find out why it is called Barnard's Loop, and it's named after the pioneering astrophotographer E. Barnard, who photographed and published it in 1894. And I decided to fly right into the nebula itself and have a look around at the stars and the colours on the screen and just the sheer beauty of it, really, with a very enjoyable cup of tea. And I've been learning a lot about exploration and the little tips and tricks that you learn along the way of how to explore and how to best do it. And one key important factor is fuel, and being able to find the correct stars to fuel using a fuel scoop. And I have to link this image by Commander Dubardo, because it is like your little pocket guide to exploration. It gives you a lovely visual representation of what the planets look like, so that you can decide whether you want to go and scan them further or not. Getting stuck without fuel is a real issue, and you have to plot your route based on scoopable stars. And scoopable stars are O, B, A, F, G, K and M. Or an easier way to remember it, which I found on the Elite Dangerous Wikia, is KGB foam. So if you can remember KGB foam, then whilst you're looking for a star to travel to, you can keep that in your head, and if it's in the list, you can scoop off of it. So I spent a little while looking around, and on my way back, I kind of deviated off a little bit to try and find a few systems that hadn't been discovered by someone already, and it felt a little bit like if you were a dog pissing up against the lamppost and putting your scent on it. It's kind of popping your name on the territory and marking it as the first discovered by you, and having a few systems with your name by it to say that you discovered this first and brought the data back to a station. And after a rather dodgy landing there, it had been a while since I've been in a station and had to land after that little bit of travelling, I decided to sell all my universal cartographic data that I got. And I got well over 1 million credits for it, and quite a lot of congratulations, Commander Eddie Rio, you are the first to discover such and such, which is always nice. So what's next? I'm looking at gaining a system permit for the system of Alioth, which I think is home of the Alliance. So if you are interested in finding more out about that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and I will catch you in the next one. Fly wonky.